Hello and welcome to, well, let's be honest, it's my kitchen. I've decided I'm going to record a, well, I got bored in lockdown, so I started doing homebrew. Got his echo in here. I don't know how that's going to come across in the video, but I thought we'd do it. So yeah, I've been homebrewing, and I thought this time I'd film it. I thought I'd film the process and I'd show you how DIY my actual process is because of what I've created on the cheap, because it's in lockdown and I'm a comedian that is out of work. So I thought, create your own beer, John, make your own beer, but do it as cheap as possible. So I've done some DIY jobs on things that you can buy normally to do brewing with. As you can see, I've got what's basically a keggle. That's what this is called here. I've shown you that picture before, and that is basically a kettle element inside a fermenting bucket, which I had to learn how to do DIY, screw it in. There's videos online, you can find out how to do a keggle. And also my wort chiller, which you'll see in a bit, which was created by my friend Jason, who is a plumber. We used some copper piping and yeah, it's a wort chiller. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna brew today, I'm brewing I'm brewing two beers today because I'm doing a 10 litre brew of a stout. But I'm also going to split into 5 litre batches and create a Nutella, which is basically a hazelnut stout, and what is called a Cocopop stout, but doesn't involve Coco Pops, so it's just got chocolate and vanilla in it. So I'm going to split them off into two 5 litre jars, which are these demijohns, which I've got over here. So we'll split into 5 litre demijohns, and we will pitch them with yeast. We'll create beer. We'll add the flavours afterwards. Once the wort has been fermented, that's when we're going to add some of the flavour. Some of the flavour is going to go into the beer as we put the grains in, which I'm doing today. I'm doing Brew in a Bag, and that's what it's called, BIAB, Brew in a Bag. We're going to put the beer, we'll put the grains into the water inside in a bag. Dead easy, isn't it? It's like boiling rice. It's basically what we're doing. So what we're going to do first, I've already got my strike water, and that is ready to go. So we've got the strike water ready to go. We're going to boil that up. I'm going to turn the keggle on to get it to 72 degrees, which is where I'm going to mash at. That's what I'll mash my grains at. I'll explain what mashing is probably. So I'll mash my grains at 72 because that's going to make it a little bit sweeter. We'll mash the grains and then we'll bring it up to a rolling boil, and then we'll cool the water down, and that's how it works. I've got 17 litres of strike water. There is a calculation, I'll probably put that on the screen now so you know exactly what that means. So I'm going to turn the keggle on, which is probably going to sound like a massive kettle boiling, isn't it? Not really thought this through for how it's going to sound. So we'll see. So let's turn the keggle on now. We'll see how this starts to... Oh, do you know what? Turn it on at the wall, John. So there we go, the keggle has started. Good to see. The keggle started up. So this bucket's already been sanitised. I use Star Sand to sanitise my bucket. We'll bring this keggle up to, it's going to come up to about 72 degrees, and then we'll start banging. We'll bang the sanitised bag into it, and then we'll start banging the grain in. So I mean, this is going to take a while. You can probably hear it. You can definitely hear it. This is going to take a while to do, so I'm probably going to go. Wait for this to get up to temperature, and then I'll come back and show you me putting the grains into the bag, and then put it into the thing. It's quite a long process. I'd say it's a 2-hour process. This is. So I'm doing a 60-minute mash and a 60-minute boil. So I'll mash it for 60 minutes at about 68, 70 degrees, and then I will boil it on a rolling boil, 100 degrees for 60 minutes. And then we'll have 10 litres of wort, which is basically your beer, is what you want. So that's what you'll have at the end. I don't know what else to say. I can't talk for an hour. I mean, I can, I'm a comedian, but I'm not going to talk for an hour. We're going to go, we'll come back when this is up to temperature, and I'm putting the bag inside. All right, see you in a bit. Right, so it took about 20 minutes, I think. 20 minutes, I think we're roughly at sparge temperature. So I'm going to reduce my temperature, which has been nicely sanitised in Star Sand as always. You can probably can't hear me over the sound of this, but let's have a look. We should be getting, so I want to be at about 72 degrees. We're going to mash at about 70. And once I have the grain and the bag, that'll put a bit of heat out. So I'm going to hopefully aim for about 72 degrees, and then when I add the bag, it should be at about 68. Might need to warm it up a bit, But I'll just, you know, turn the keggle back on, get that water nice and hot again. Yeah, 71.3, we're nearly there, not very long now. Although it always takes longer, doesn't it? I don't know what pot takes so long to boil. So we're going to get to 72, then I'll turn the keggle off and I'll add the bag. There we go, 72 degrees, exactly, perfect. Put that back in the sanitizer, turn the keggle off, so you can now hear me probably. I've got my sanitised bag, which is in here, which is in Star San. So we're going to put that into the bucket. It's so massive this, it's huge. You want to make sure that you don't put this in so it touches the actual kettle element, because otherwise you're going to scorch the bag. Put it around the edge, like that. There we go, I think that's what's hot. Of course it is, John. It's just been boiling, hasn't it? So I'm going to do that like that. That should let us nice and seat the bags. I'm going to clip that down. I've got some clips. So clip that down so it doesn't fall when you put your grains in, because we've got a lot of grains. Yeah, we've got a good grain bill. So we've got, I'll put the recipe up online so that you can see it. Hopefully that should be all right. Right. So I'm going to add my base malt. You've seen it, it's now in this. I've weighed it out. So we've got 2.24 kilograms of base malt, which I think is, what did I say it was? Halagon? Who knows? Base malt. Basically, I just looked at which one the best one was to make a stout. And this is one of the ones they said, so I'm using this. So we've got the base malt, put that in to our mash. Also add in the chocolate malt and the roasted barley. Put that in. Might need to put those down a bit actually, because it doesn't seem to be going into the water. Move that down. There we go. Push that down there. Clip that back on. Clip that back on. Now get our sterilised paddle and just start mixing it to make sure that we don't get any clumps. I could probably take a video of this with my phone. Yeah, we've got a big clump there. Just break up all the clumps of the mash. Do that. Grab your timer or your phone, which is my phone. Grab that. And now that you've grabbed, you don't want any of those like balls, you don't want those balls, that's what you don't want. You want all your grains to be nicely balled up. Well, not balled up, you don't want any of that. I'll take a quick video of this actually while I'm stirring. Add that in. See those balls there? Smells amazing, by the way. It does not smell good. Looking forward to this. And we'll leave that to mash now for 60 minutes. So it's a long wait for you guys. Well, it's not. It's a short wait for you guys. Long wait for me, as I just wait for 60 minutes. While my mash continues, basically. So I'll see you, well, you're going to see me in a second, due to the magic of this, and but it's going to be 60 minutes for me, so basically you're in the future. See you in a bit, thank you, goodbye. Right, so we're getting close to the 60-minute mash now. We're about 57 minutes. So we're nearly ready, timer's about to go off. In the hour it's been mashing, I've been stirring it. I've had to fire the keggle up a little bit every now and again just to keep it at the 68 to 70 degrees that I want to keep it at to get the best out of the grains, basically. Also, I've been weighing out all the ingredients that I'm going to be banging in to the actual boil, because when we boil, I'll be adding some bittering hops, some Magnum bittering hops, only 7 grams, and then I'll add some lactose. For that sort of like nice mouth feel and flavours and milky, you know, just niceness basically. So I'm adding, how much of that am I adding actually? 230 grams of lactose, and then I'm adding, that will be adding at 40 minutes into the boil. So I'll wait for the boil, it'll boil for 40 minutes, then I'll add the lactose, and then at 45 minutes into the boil, I will add the cocoa, which I think is how you say it. It's basically cocoa, isn't it? But cocoa, it gives it a bit of more chocolate. It's more for a brewing, cooking, sort of chocolate type thing. So that's what we'll do. We'll boil for 60 minutes, and that takes quite a long while to get up to temp. Because, like I said, I'm doing this very DIY. It's very, like, you've probably seen it. Well, you'll see it when I put the wort chiller in, how DIY this is. Like I said, I made the keggle myself. It's just a fermenting bucket with a hole drilled in it and then a kettle element shoved into it from an old broken kettle that happened to break just as I started brewing. And like I said, my wort chiller is made by my friend Jason, who is a plumber, and he had some copper pipe, and we made a wort chiller because all it's going to do is just circulate cold water around itself. You submerge that into the hot wort to get it back down to 20 degrees so you can pitch your yeast, which is what will make it alcoholic. We'll test the original gravity at the end. Once we've chilled it down to 20 degrees, that's when I'll test it and see how much sugar there is in there for the yeast to eat up. The yeast will eat the sugar up, that's what creates the alcohol, and we'll be able to work out exactly how strong this stout's going to be. We'll see. It's supposed to be around about 4.5, I think, or maybe 5.5. We'll see. Every time I've brewed so far, I've always brewed a bit high. And one of them came out at like 8% because I put mango in it. I forgot the sugar from the mango would then get eaten by the yeast, so it came out a lot stronger. So we should be about ready to take the grain out. I've sanitised everything, so I've sanitised my wort chiller, I've sanitised all my equipment that I'm using, all the bowls that I've got everything in that's been weighed out for the boil. I've sanitised my paddle, I've sanitised the bucket that I'm going to now just try and put the bag into once the mash is finished. So I'm going to lift the bag out, let it drain for a bit, and then I'll put it into this silver pot which I've sanitised, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of water at the bottom of that as well. Don't know if I've explained most of the things that I'm saying. I know I'm saying a lot of words. I mean, if you brew and you're happy watching this, it's interesting. But this is more for the you know, home brewers and beginners. That's what we're doing. We're doing it for home brewers and beginners, so that you know how to brew and know what I've been doing over lockdown. Right, well, the timer's nearly up. We're going to hear it in a minute, hopefully. There we go. Typical Samsung timer. So that is our 60-minute mash is finished. So now we will drain the grain with Jon Pearson. Maybe that's what we'll call this. Drain the grain with Jon Pearson. So we're going to take the mash bag out, drain off all the excess liquid that is in there. So we tie that up. It comes with a nice tie. That's all right, isn't it? It's not that great, actually. That's perfect. Right, so you just pull it out heavy, and then we'll get loads of that out. This is going to do me, oh wow, that is heavy, isn't it? That is heavy. I mean, there's a lot of grain in there for a lot of water to come out. The colour is amazing. I'm going to take a picture of that. Well, actually, I'll just do a video. There you go, it's a nice video. You can probably see that on your screens now. I don't know how I'm going to do this, I'm going to edit it later on. Of me draining the grain in. So that will pretty much drain. Don't squeeze the bag. I think that's the one thing that everyone says. Don't squeeze the bag. You don't want to be getting any of those whole enzymes out when you're trying to squeeze the grains together. Just do that. It's quite nice. That'll lift it. Put it into your bag. There we go. Leave that to the side. That'll continue to drain out. Now we are ready to boil the bugger. So we're going to boil this bad boy up. We've finished at around about 15 litres. So I started with 17. Obviously the mash and the grain has absorbed some of the liquid, which it's bound to do, isn't it? Because that's what grains do. So I've got about 15 litres left. I know for a fact my keggle boils off at 4 litres per hour. So we will be left with roughly 11 litres, which isn't too bad because it'll be a bit of trub. The trub is the stuff at the bottom, which you don't want in your beer because otherwise it's all cloudy and horrible. So I'm going to fire up the keggle again,
to get this going to a rolling boil, at which point when the rolling boil starts, we will start a 60-minute timer. I'll add the Magnum hops and we'll just boil for 60 minutes. So I'll set that going. I'll probably take a video. Once it's going, I'll probably take a video of me adding all the bits into it. But I'll be back once I'm going to go and try and chill the actual wort down once it's boiled over. So we'll see in a bit. It'll be like seconds for you guys, won't it? So thanks a lot.
Right, we're basically at the stage of a rolling boil now, I think. It definitely looks like it. There's plenty of steam. Forgot our wort glasses, do you know what I mean? So we'll just test it, make sure. I'll take a quick video of that while I'm doing that, so you can see exactly what the wort looks like. There we go. We're going to get steam everywhere. So, it's proper boiling now, I think. Temperature gauge, not saying it is though. Very close. Couple more minutes and we'll be at that stage of banging it in. Oh, well, do you know what? I think it's probably about ready to go. I mean, that to me is boiling. So I'll probably just bang it in there, I think. I think we're going to see the wort. Lovely, look at it, look at it. I mean, I'm trying to get away from the steam. Look at that. Proper rolling boil. So, what we'll do now is we will start our timer for 40 minutes. Always have your timer ready, John. You're on film. Always, I can edit it out. Always have your timer ready. Right, so we'll set a timer for 40 minutes because that's when our first addition goes in, when we have the lactose. So 40 minutes from now, but with that right now, we add the 7 grams of Magnum hops. So we'll add that into the boil now. That's that done. Biggest bowl for the smallest amount of hops. And now we'll just leave that to go for 40 minutes. Then we'll come back, we'll add some lactose, and then we'll come back 5 minutes after that, and we'll add some cacao, or cocaya. Cocaya, who knows what it is. This is going to properly boil now for 60 minutes, so hopefully we'll boil off. At the minute it's saying we're at about 14 and a half, so I think we're probably going to boil off down to about 10, maybe 10 and a half, and we'll then cool the wort down after 6 minutes. But I'll be back to show you me putting in the lactose. It's not very exciting, I'm just literally dumping things into hot water. You do that with vegetables, John. So yeah, I'll come back, I'll show you me putting the lactose in, I'll show you me putting the cacao in, and then I'll show you me chilling the wort down, which is probably going to take quite a while. But yeah, this is... what's the reason for doing the video, John? The reason for doing the video is to show you how easily it is to brew beer in your own house with just stuff that you've got probably lying around. I mean, I bought the bucket cost me £9. And the kettle I already had, do you know what I mean? And they're £9 from Tesco's. So you can get a kettle quite easily. You can make your own fermenting bucket, you can make your own boiling bucket, you can make your own mash. Do brew in a bag, it's dead easy. But I would love to get myself some proper equipment. So I will be putting a PayPal thing at the bottom, possibly starting a Patreon as well. So if you want to see your own brews, or you want to give me an idea of what you'd like to see, or you'd like to name a brew, I might start doing some Patreon stuff. So please support me on Patreon or PayPal or whatever, and I'll put all those links in the description, as well as this recipe. I'll stick that recipe in there for you, so you guys can watch it, you guys can remake it, and if you're a proper brewer, you can tell me what I've done wrong. But we'll be back in about 40 minutes to watch the lactose go in, and I'll see you in a bit. Thank you, goodbye. Right, well, we're about 2 minutes from adding our first addition. Like I said, it's lactose. We're going to add some lactose to it, just to add that sort of bit of a thicker. It's going to be a bit of a thickener to make it nice. Yeah, this is my first stout as well. I mean, this, I'm filming this. I've been brewing. I've done like 5 or 6 brews, and I'm enjoying it. I like doing it. I like drinking it. Never done a stout. Stout is new to me. I like drinking a stout. I love a good Guinness or whatever. So I thought I'd give a stout a go. And one of my friends, Will Adams, massive fan of Cocopops. And then I did see a recipe for Cocopop stout, and I saw that someone else had made a Cocopop stout,
there's no Coco Pops in it. You're just trying to create the flavour of Coco Pops in the stout. That's what you're trying to do. So you don't actually use the Coco Pops. I mean, maybe I will use Coco Pops another time. I have to work out how to brew with Coco Pops. But we're about to add the lactose to it, which gives it a bit of a milky thing in it. It gives it a bit of a milky flavour. And then we'll add some more chocolate. I mean, at the moment, this is smelling fantastic. While it's been boiling away for the last 40 minutes, I've been sanitising everything using Star San. So I've sanitised my demijohns ready to go. So these are what the stout will go into. So they've been sanitised. That's the sanitisation fluid sat in there. 10 millilitres in every 5 litres for that. So that sanitises that. Sanitising my airlocks to put in there so that they can go into my fermentation fridge, which is just here, with some of my IPAs that are already on the top of it there, you can see. So it'll be in there and it'll be 20 degrees once we pitch the yeast. So we've got a couple of steps yet to go. So we're still going to add the lactose, which we're doing in about 40 seconds. We're going to add the cacao, and then we're going to cool the wort down once the boil is finished at 60 minutes. So we're about to, yeah, we are literally about to add the lactose. So I'm going to do that now. So the lactose, there we go, timer. So lactose is going in, so we'll add another 5-minute timer, and then we'll add some cocoa. So the lactose is in. Well, there we go. Gee. Well, that's off. It's in. Nothing you can do about it now, John. I didn't think it was all going to go in quite like that, but it's gone in. It's not done anything else. It just disappeared. I'll be honest, it just disappeared into this massive vat of boiling hot water. So now we're going to do a 5-minute timer, because now we're going to do the cacao. It's time sensitive, but not that time sensitive. I've been sanitising my wort chiller so that we're ready for to chill the wort. This is going to be its first proper usage. There's 2 ways you can do it. Well, there's 3 ways actually. What you can do what I'm doing, and you can get a wort chiller. You can buy them if you get the full kit. You know, if you get like a Grainfather or something like that, which is a big kettle, basically, you can get a wort chiller with that goes into it. Or you can make one yourself, which is what I've done. So we'll see how that goes. I'll say made it myself. So like I said, I'm not that handsy. But yeah, handsy. Steady, John, you're a comedian. I got my mate Jason to make that for me. He was a plumber. So we're going to test that out in a minute. That's been sanitising in Star San again over there in another big bucket, about 20 litres of it just to cover it all. So it's all nicely sanitised before you add it to the wort. You can do that. So you can do wort chiller. You can do you can just leave it. So you can just turn the boil off and then just leave it for a night. You know, cover it over with a lid, leave it for the night, let it chill down to 20 degrees. But I like to try and get it all done in one day, so that you can chill your wort down, so that you can then get your yeast pitched into it. You can get it put into the fermentation bucket, and then you can start the fermentation period, because it's 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks from this point to when we can actually bottle it, and then it'll be 2 weeks at least after that. I mean, with stouts, the longer you leave them, the better they get. So I'm doing this one, so I will test one of 2 weeks. I'll probably do a video on that. I'll do a video when I'm bottling it, because we're going to prime it for carbonation with. We're going to use maple syrup, so we're going to go. It's going to be quite sweet. It's going to be quite a sweet stout. I think it's going to add to the flavours of the chocolate, and I'm doing a Nutella one. Like I said, I'm splitting this into 2 demijohns. So one's going to have hazelnut, one's going to have just cocoa and vanilla in it. So we're going to try and create a cocoa stout, and we're also going to try and create a Nutella stout. So we'll be fermenting them for at least 2 weeks, making sure that they come down into the ABV. Like I said, we're aiming for about 5. We'll see. I'm a little bit apprehensive about what it's going to come out at. We'll find out when we've chilled the wort down, and we'll do a quick original gravity check. Because I've just added lactose sugar, which I've realised is sugar again, so we've added more sugar to the solution. Could be massively strong, but a stout's good when it's strong, so we'll see. But there's ways I can sort it out. I can add some more water to it to reduce the alcohol levels at the start, which means we'll have more, so I'll just have to put them into more demijohns. And we could probably have a bit of a test. We can add more cocoa, we can add more cocoa nibs, we can add more hazelnut. We can do a couple of tests to make sure and see which one tastes the nicest. And then we'll bottle them. Like I said, we'll do a priming. We'll prime an entire bucket, we'll do a bottling bucket, we'll prime that with maple syrup so that we've got some sugar in there for the yeast to then eat to make some CO2 to make it a little bit fizzy, just to be in the bottle so you get a nice head and all that sort of stuff. So we'll do that. We'll probably do some videos on that as well. I've basically just been talking now for the entire time, the 5-minute thing was going to happen. Who'd have thought a comedian could talk for 5 minutes about brewing? Ridiculous. If you've got any suggestions for any recipes you'd like me to do, I am going to do another video doing my, I've got a hazy IPA that I make, which I'm going to do again, same principle, brew in a bag. I'm going to try and do more though, that's the only problem. The issue I've got there is that I haven't got a big enough bucket. Like I said at the start, I've got to get strike water, you've got to get the right volume of strike water, and I need 33 litres, and my bucket only holds 27. So it's going to be, I could always brew it short and then add more water. And that's what I could do to this. If I feel like this is too much high gravity at the start for the ABV, I'll just add some more water to it, which I've got chilling in the fridge, which will bring down the alcohol volume. So that's what we'll probably do for that if it is strong. I don't really want it to be in the teens. I don't really want to be in double figures. But if I can keep it below 7, I'll be happy if I keep it below 7. Right, so what we'll do now is we'll just wait another 50 seconds and then we will add the cacao to this. Then we'll let it boil for another 15 minutes. We'll turn the boil off, then we'll fire up the wort chiller, which is going to be interesting because it's very, I mean, I've shown you a picture of it. I did a quick video at the start of this, I think, and it showed you the wort chiller. It's very, very DIY. It's great, it's amazing, I love it. Its first proper use today is going to be to try and chill this down to 20 degrees. It's got a radiator valve on it. It has to be connected to the long hose that goes into my cellar, to the only tap that I can fit a hose onto, and another hose has to go into the sink for the excess water that comes out. So what we'll do now is we'll just add the cocoa now because that's about to go off. There we go. That's that done. So we'll add another 15-minute timer and then we'll turn the boil off. We'll add that in there now. So that's that all added. That smells proper chocolatey now. Wait for that to disappear. And we'll be back in about 15 minutes when I attempt to put the wort chiller into action. Fire up the wort chiller.
Right, so we're nearly at the 60-minute boil mark. Ready to fire up the wort chiller. This is amazing. I wish this was smell-o-vision, do you know what I mean? It's like proper classic. Keep stealing up, keep standing too close to it. It's so nice, it smells amazing. The cacao at the end has really added an extra chocolatey vibe to it. And we've not even added the cocoa nibs yet. So the cocoa nibs will get added during the after fermentation. So we'll be putting them in like a dry hop. Again, these are all things that I'll explain probably in text at the bottom of the video. If you don't know what those sort of things are, if you don't know what dry hopping is, if you don't know what hop standing is. I'm not doing a whirlpool, we've only done one slight bittering hops for this one. So hopefully it'll still be nice. I think we are aiming for a sweeter stout though, because we are trying to make it a chocolatey and a Nutella-y, you know, like I keep saying, it's mixed. There we go, that's it. So that is the end of the boil. Turn off the water, turn off the boiler. That has now been boiling for 60 minutes. And it has left us with, my calculations were incorrect, it's left us with 12 litres. So we've got 12 litres of wort now that we're going to try and fit into 2 5-litre demijohns. It's alright, a little bit of wastage. I'll have to add that to my calculations. You always add a calculation. So this is the first, like I said, it's the first time, so we're testing it out. So now I know that that boiled off down to 12 litres. What we'll do now is we will add the wort chiller into the mix. So, like I said, this wort chiller has been sat in sanitizer for a while, just to make sure it's nicely sanitised. All the bits that will be going into the water is in there, so that'll go into the, see what I mean by it's proper. So DIY. So that's now in there. What I'll do now is I'll add the hose to that side, put the hose on that side, and then I will turn the water on, which is going to chill the wort down. So I'm going to go and do that now. Right, so as you can hear, I've now connected my hose to the wort chiller, which is now putting cold water through the wort. They're getting cold, that still feels quite warm on that side. So that'll run cold water through the copper pipes in a coil to hopefully chill this wort down, and we'll get it down to 20 degrees. Might take a little bit longer. It's not you know, a scientific wort chiller. You can get chiller plates, that sort of thing, that'll do it for you. But hopefully this will just cool it down enough so we can get the yeast pitched and we can get it into the demijohns ready for fermentation. It's going to take a while. I'm going to go. I'll be back in a second for you guys. All right, see you in a bit, bye. Right, so the water chiller's done its job. I'm going to give you, well, let's be honest, Jason, you made it, you smashed it, all the way from 100 degrees rolling boil down to 22 degrees in 35 minutes. I'm going to say that's a win. People will probably say it isn't, but 35 minutes, we've absolutely smashed it. One of the greatest wort chillers I've ever used. First wort chiller I've ever used. So, the wort is now chilled down to 22 degrees, so it is ready for pitching. So we're going to start pitching some yeast into it, but before we do that, we're going to siphon it off and we're going to put it into the demijohns. So I'm going to lift it up to this location here. And you'll probably just be able to see it. So we'll lift this bucket up now, just make sure that we don't use any of the cables. It's very heavy. Right, so put that up there, just on top of another bucket, because we are going to siphon that down into the demijohns on this table, which I don't think you can see, but I might just tip it down a bit so you can see what I'm doing. Demijohns are over there. They have been getting nicely sanitised. I'll go and grab them, probably turn this off, go and grab them and make sure that they're clear, and then I'll bring the siphon over. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, you can't see my head now because I've had to move the cable down. So you can see the demijohns. I've got the demijohns. Sanitising, rinse-free sanitiser, just so that we've sanitised it. You might see some bubbles, but the bubbles are fine, that's okay, it's rinse-free. We've got our siphon, is now attached and into the bucket. So we're ready to go. I've added a bottling end to this so that I can bottle it into these demijohns. Normally you just pour it into the fermenting bucket, or you just leave it in the bucket that you've got. So to get that out, I'm going to just fill it up. I'm going to put it into a bottle to get the sanitisation fluid out of the thing, so you can see it coming down the cable. And once you've got a pretty good full, oh, it's not low enough, is it? Have to be lower. Once you're pretty full, so you've got a complete, so that's a sanitisation fluid, and then you've got your stout in the bottle. So now we're going to try and fill these from the bottom. Hopefully this will work. Might take some time. Maybe the bucket's not high enough. Well, the bucket might need heightening, or do I need to start with? There we go. That might just be enough to get it going. No, I'm going to have to heighten my bucket. Brilliant! Okay, well that's a blooper. We'll heighten the bucket and then we'll come back. Hold on a sec. Right, I've decided I'm not heightening the bucket. I've got nothing to heighten it with. That's as high as it goes. So this is just going to have to go below the table. So it's going to look weird. I'm going to fill these from down here. Hopefully we'll get a full. I mean, it might take ages. Do you know what? It might just take ages because I've got that on the end of it. Oh, typical. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it off. This is dangerous, isn't it now? We're in the danger zone of taking something apart live. So what I'm going to do, look for something to put this into while I take it apart. We're not going to use a temperature gauge again. Oh no, we are using the temperature gauge again. I need that bucket, I need that bucket, I need that. Oh, what is going on? The stout looks great though in the I mean, this is going to be a long, laborious process if this is how I'm going to have to do it. But it looks like it is. So I'm going to go while I do this, and then I'll be back. All right. So thanks. So. Didn't work, did it? So it's because of the bottling end. I thought I was doing something clever. It didn't work out. So just siphoning it out like normal. So this is what we're doing. You can see it's filling up from the bottom. I'm not going to lift it, but it's proper chocolatey. I didn't realise how chocolatey this was going to look. Honestly, it looks like Coco Pops. So we'll try and fill that up. A bit worried about when I stop it, They only want to be 5 litres. Need to leave some room for the yeast as well, which we're going to put in a minute. I've got to fill both buckets up. So it's filling at the moment. It's filling much quicker now that it's not it's not got the bottling end on it. So we'll wait for those to fill. I'll be back in a minute. Whilst they're just filling up, I've just taken a quick reading, and I think it's 0.052. So I reckon it's going to be about 5.2%. So I took that reading out, that's the hydrometer in the thing. So about 5.2%, I'm happy with that. You can see me in the glass, look. There we are. So thank you, I've just got always fill it up. Oh, shit. Right, we're back. Filled. Look, here they are. They look great. Look at that, it's a great colour. Really impressed with it. Smells amazing. You would have seen my hydrometer reading, so I reckon it's going to be about 5.2%. This is the yeast. We've got the yeast starter going, so we're going to put half of this into each vessel. So just pour it in, like so. That's done, so the yeast is in, so that will now start to activate. What we'll do now is we've got some bungs on the top, sanitised, so that's bonged up. Got another bung to put into that one. Sanitised again, and my hands done, and then we've got to fill my airlocks. So I've got airlocks that are also sanitised, so they go into the top of the bungs like so. Put a little bit of sanitizer in there, just so that you can see it bubbling away, just so you get a nice airlock. Put the other airlock in the other one, like so. Again, put some more sanitizer in, so that you get a nice bubble going on later on, once the yeast starts to work. That's it, done. So that's it. They'll go into my fermentation fridge now, sit at 20 degrees for around about 2 weeks, and then we'll come back and we'll look at what we've got, see whether we've, 2 weeks after 5 days before the 2 weeks is up. So based on day 9, I will be adding some Coco nibs to both of them for a bit more of a chocolatey flavour. And then when I bottle, I will be adding hazelnut to one, and I'll be adding vanilla to the other. So we'll find out how they taste in about 4 weeks' time. I hope this has been all right. I've been Jon Pearson, comedian and brewer. Please support me on PayPal, Patreon, whatever you want to support me on. Just like my page, do whatever you want to do. I'll see you all soon in about 2 weeks when we come back to this and have a look what it's like. Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye.